Peace. What's the science, universal family? On another glorious day of the science of living mathematics. And what is today's mathematics? It is wisdom, the second day of the month. And that represents two, wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is action, it is experience, it is motion. Right? And what is the second letter in the alphabet? B. And B in the supreme alphabet stands for be or born. Be or born, people. So let's break it down. Wisdom as experience. How do you gain experience? By putting your plan into motion. That plan is what we talked about yesterday. The knowledge, the thought process first, right? You can't just act without having something set already. You need to be able to think things through and then act upon it. See, the biggest mistake that many people do is not act upon that plan that they had in mind because out of fear of failure or whatnot, fear not succeeding, fear of negative feedback from others. And we have to be able to ignore those things, put those things to the side. Only reason being is, like I said yesterday, you determine the beginning of that path in that circle, right? In that cipher. It is you. And this is important when it's dealing with wisdom, because experience you gain, no matter how much experience somebody else has gained, you just do not absorb that through osmosis. You just don't. The only way you gain is by them either showing you or them verbally passing that information to you. Get what I'm saying? Applying this to the supreme alphabet, be or born. Be means to exist, right? Looking at it in different contexts, it just exists, and that's it. Either you're going to be, you're going to let that idea just be, or you're going to born it out in the physical, right? Born is a process of becoming complete, and this is something that you want to do. You want to put this plan into motion, because again, like I mentioned in my previous videos and yesterday, motion is life, right? This is when dealing with particles. If you are able to bring down the temperature of any particle down to absolute zero, it ceases to exist. Reason being because all things have a certain vibration to it. That vibration is a certain type of frequency, friction, which causes heat, right? So you have to be able to put your idea, put it into motion out there. Don't worry about what other people are going to say. As long as you planned it out the way you saw it, put it out there. If it's ready, put it out there. This is important. One, because even if it does fail, it doesn't go through, you can always come back to the drawing board and make adjustments. And that's what life is about. That's what perfection is. Perfection is not this fake idea that it's flawless. The fact that we can do something, and whether we fail at it, maybe through mistakes or unforeseen circumstances, the fact that you can think back and adjust to these things, apply proper knowledge to it. And what I said, observation, right? We said contemplation, and we said study. These are the things that you want to be able to do. You want to grab all this new information and apply it to yourself so you can keep growing. Add it onto your foundation and then move forward. Now you'll be able to move more fluid, right? Because this is what you want. You don't want to be so rigid where you can't move, you can't adjust as you're going. All right, just think about it when you're in the highway, you're moving, you have to be able to adjust versus somebody who's driving too slow or somebody who's zooming past you. You got to be able to move out the way. And that's what it is. You got to be able to adjust, and this is why, symbolically speaking, water is wisdom. right? Because it can take any shape or form. You give it any cup of any shape, it will just mold into that shape. You get what I'm saying? And this is what we have to do. Many times, one of the great big conversations always having with people is how to deal with certain people at your work environment, right? No, I got to be professional. You want to make sure you don't say nothing that's going to offend or is going to get you fired, right? So your word has to be fluid on how you say things. Certain things that you can say at home, you can't say at work, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you adjust. You adjust your mannerisms. You adjust how you say certain things. Whether you throw F-bombs all the time outside of work, and when you come at work, you got to make sure you got to dim it down depending on the environment, the people. You get what I'm saying? If you're dealing with a whole bunch of coworkers that don't speak like that, you have to make sure that you don't do that as well, because there's reasons as to why they don't do it. Whether it's company policy, or that's how they think it should be at a work environment, you can't just go ahead into another cipher and throw your wisdom that's going to throw the whole thing out of whack. You know what I'm saying? If there's an opening this way, be like water. Adjust to it and follow and go through the flow. Many times too, dealing with wisdom in the sense of, let's say, going through the flow, going or following the flow, is that you lose control and you end up being a robot per se. All you're doing is what everybody else is doing, and you have to know when not to be that. You have to know when not just to be a follower per se. Everybody says, "Oh, don't be a follower, be a leader," but how many people know how to lead? You have the necessary requirements for you to be able to lead. You get what I'm saying? And a great leader will show other followers how to lead themselves. The greatest mistake that people have is through ego, is to not teach others how to succeed themselves. To show them, oh, you can only succeed with me. And this is wrong. You have to be able to pass on the wisdom. What good is all the knowledge that you have? Let's say you have a tremendously large library that nobody has access to except you, but you never share any of that information. What good is that? What good is knowledge if you don't apply it? If you don't grab knowledge and pass it through the wisdom, the motion? All these things connect. These are the basic principles of universal order: knowledge, wisdom, understanding. 1, 2, 3. Always think, act, and then evolve, change. See the clear mental picture, which is the understanding. But today we're talking about wisdom. It's about you making sure that you put your things into motion. Don't just be. Born it out. See what it comes out to. Don't worry about it. All right, what is the quote of Thomas Edison when they asked him, took him 1,000 times, that he failed 1,000 times before he came up with the light bulb? He said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. Right? And I like that quote, not so much because it has a positive twist to it or anything like that, because I don't arbitrarily just like to make something positive. You have to look at it in a sense as like, if you look at it as failure and you're not looking at the lesson of there as to why you didn't succeed this time around, and all you're doing is just moping and just, oh, it's not fair, I should have won this, I should have won that. Like many times when it comes to sports, I see a lot of kids where their parents don't teach them correctly, and they think it's not fair the fact that they didn't win. But yeah, these are the same kids that spend most of the time just playing video games on their iPads or whatever it is, not practicing, not honing in their skills, not understanding the gameplays or anything like that. And then when they go out there, they think they should just win just because. And it doesn't work like that. And it's even worse, far worse, when that happens in adulthood, where you think you should just be because you think so. It doesn't work like that. And the thing about motion, because remember, as you're Picture yourself as in a still pond. And the more you move around, the more ripples around you you're creating. And these ripples expand out until it hits the next person and it affects them. And their motion affects you as well. And then once you start to find the equilibrium, you guys will start vibing together, right? Everybody's talking about, it's the vibe. And it's about just resonating at the same frequency together. Just that's what I mean about being around like-minded individuals, not just being a follower and following other people that are successful. It's about finding that right frequency with others in that same mindset per se. And this is what you want to do. If you feel you reach a certain point in your life where a good example is young adult, you're done with the club and scene and all that stuff. Now you're looking into, more serious. You want to make money. You want to find other avenues. You got your job. You want to find other avenues to have residual income. And your friends are not with it. You suck. You stop drinking. You stop getting drunk with us. All you're doing is talking about houses and buying land and all this other stuff. And it's not that your friends are whack. They're just not ready. They're just not there. The path that they have chosen hasn't made them ready to the point that you're in. And that's okay. And when they see it, just like you, it could have been just last week, somebody could have had this conversation with you. We're like, until it hit you. Until that idea came into existence. And it was there. It was being. Now it's up to you to make it born. Bring it out. Test it out. How would you know you will be successful in owning land and building it up and having residual income, and whether it's helping your parents out, where they retired and now they can live good. Your kids, are gonna live good, so on and so forth, and being able to pass this down to and build up generational wealth. And let's say you are the catalyst for that. Don't be afraid to put that out there. You get what I'm saying? Always think about it in the sense, yes, you affect others and others affect you. But many times you also have to look within and how you affect you. Many of us don't realize that. You're always pointing fingers. You always do this, making me feel bad. But what is about what you're doing that makes you feel bad as well? Don't ignore that. And it's easy to see this when talking about weight, right? Weight loss and all this other stuff. People are always saying that they want to do this and want to do that, and they don't motivate themselves, or they constantly sitting there eating. Because you get me mad, or when I start getting sad, I just start eating. Well, you realize that this is something that you want to do. So to make it born. Figure out ways, whether small little steps. Don't try to start your path, let's say, with this super high end goal. Sometimes it could be as simple as doing your bed when you wake up. I know I got a bad habit of not doing that, but what I tend to do is now when I have my cover, I just put it on this way instead of just having it all messy. So I have that built in my mind. It's just small little steps like that, and just building those habits, getting rid of those negative habits. No matter how small, you have to be able to start somewhere. For example, me as a vegetarian, since I was 16 years old, a lot of people say, I can't do it. How do you do it? And then when they try, saying they're eating all types of meat, all types of animals and shit, and they want to go here and stop the next day. I'm going to start tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. Because your body, again, is like wisdom. It adapts, it changes based on what you put it through. So if it's used to doing this all the time, you can't stop from one day to the next. It's not going to work like that. Just like me when I was trying to gain weight. Once I hit the weight, because I did it in a bad way. I wasn't doing it correctly. Once I hit the weight that I liked, I had built such a bad habit that I couldn't stop eating. And until I caught myself. And it's all about willpower within self. I didn't want to just have that idea just linger around in my mind, just existing and floating there. I made it born. Made some adjustments. And these are things that we can all do. It's not something that only certain people can do. And sometimes you could be in certain situations. It could be a relationship that you're in that kind of blocks you, or your own state of mind. It can block you because of things, people outside of you, things outside of you can affect you, and that can have a negative effect on your mind and on your mental state, on how you do things or you want to do things, and vice versa, right? And when those conditions change, you notice yourself, you start doing this, you start doing that. You don't just do it for the sake of doing. That is not wisdom. You're not gaining anything from it by I'm just going to do it. I'm single now and doing this and doing that. No. Have a plan. Deal with knowledge first, and then apply the wisdom. The wisdom will come correct based on you. If you already know the path that you're going to take, you just, I'm going to go hiking just because, boom. Start for the first time ever in your life. You've never done hiking, and you're just going to go ahead. Not even know where. You can't do that. Some things require planning. Many things require planning. So that way, when you're on your journey, you're gaining the necessary experience that's required based on your personality, based on your needs, to be able to apply. You get what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. But staying in motion. Don't just sit there. Don't be afraid to put your plans into motion. Don't worry about whether you're going to succeed or fail. Do it because you want to see what's going to happen, whether it's good or bad, and take that. Make the adjustments that you need. And then guess what? You will reach on to the next step. But always have small attainable goals. Goals that you can attain within a day. And that should motivate you to go on to the next one, to the next one, on to the next one. And then you'll see later on that you will reach that huge goal that you had in mind. But if you're trying to skip all these other steps in between, it's going to seem very hard for you to reach it. But if you're like, I'm going to take these 10 little steps today, tomorrow, after tomorrow, and you keep going, and then you'll be able to reach that. All right? But it's all about putting it into motion. Don't procrastinate. I know we all have that, especially in college, all writing our papers and stuff like that, leaving it for the last minute. We had 2 weeks to write it, but we're doing it Sunday night, 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Don't do that. And not because, life's too short, you only get one chance. No. Do it because you want to progress. Do it because you want to see the result. You want to get to the understanding, which is the clear mental picture. Right? Wisdom is the bridge to this. You don't want to stay stuck in this journey or only just keep going and then you lost yourself within the flow. Right? Picture a river and the current of the river is just taking you. You have no control where it takes you. You can't move or anything like that. You don't want to be that. Was it don't follow the flow, be the flow. Whatever that is. Make sure that you are in control. You know the path that you're going to take, and just prepare yourself for any unforeseen circumstances and apply it to yourself. And the only way to do this is to be like water, be like a palm tree. All these trees that are very rigid, all it takes is enough strong wind and it can knock it down, versus you have the palm trees and it's always doing one of these. It always goes, it bends, adjusts based on the wind conditions. You know what I mean? That's what you want to be like. And with that, I'm going to say peace and enjoy the rest of your day. my people. Peace.